Toy Story is back. Toy Story 5 just released in theaters this past weekend, and at the moment it's taking over the world, and for good reasons. The quality of the film itself and the goodwill of the brand over the past 3 decades have put this film and this franchise in a very comfortable position, one that I haven't seen it in since before Toy Story 4 was announced. Today I'd like to give some of my thoughts on the film as well as the impact this will have on the studio and what we're looking at from a box office perspective. I'll start off with some spoiler-free discussion. I've now seen this film 3 times, and there's different things I look out for in each viewing. Out the gate, I have to give some nods to the new characters here. Toy Story famously has an endless well of incredible characters, many of which only get a chance to stick around for one entry, but I do think each of the tech-based toys play their parts really well. Smarty Pants gets a lot of one-liners here, and I do enjoy what he brings to the plot. Jessie is the main character here though, and if you have seen any of my videos about Toy Story, you may know I've been questioning her protagonist role in this one. At first, I didn't think this was actually going to happen, and to be fair, Woody and Buzz do get plenty to do, and they are central to the plot, but this is very much Jessie's movie. And this story is catered to her in a way that it wouldn't have made as much sense if it was another Woody-centric film, which is nice. Pixar's changed the protagonist in a lot of their sequel films like Mater, Mike Wazowski, and Dory to name a few, but Woody has always been the cornerstone of this franchise. Though shorts and specials have shown before, this franchise is still the same old Toy Story even if he does take a secondary role. And in this one we got him and Buzz a lot interacting, which was nice since they tend to spend the majority of these films apart. On the topic of Buzz himself, the one that we know at least, this is one of his biggest roles since the second I'd say, and we get those new high-tech Buzz Lightyears in the army as well, which were a really fun addition. They were a really good comic relief, and it was really great seeing everything come together by the end. There's plenty of new ideas here, and the good old-fashioned Toy Story we all know and love, which has obviously made this quite the crowd pleaser. We're going into the second weekend now, and it's pretty much guaranteed that this is going to be the highest grossing entry in the franchise, and with the word of mouth it's received, it's only going to keep going up. While a month ago the biggest talking point was that we didn't need a 5th movie, or that these should have ended at 3, now I've seen a lot of people come around and say, why not keep on going? And while I'd imagine that the reception to this film was going to be quite positive, I never would have expected that. So I guess after all this time, the goodwill of this brand has finally kicked in, and people trust Pixar to make good Toy Story movies. And now there's even been talks from the likes of Andrew Stanton himself saying that there's story for 2 more films. And now that this is proving to be the moneymaker that it is, once again, I wouldn't be surprised if they revisit this well. But Pixar does have other brands that make money, and they are still committed to new properties as well, so I don't think they're going to rush into things if they do decide to make another one. I'm going to get into a little light spoiler talk now. If you haven't seen this movie, just click off. I guess this won't make too much sense. Now, a lot of the talks for a Toy Story 6 from some people at Pixar has been a conclusion of Bonnie's trilogy or her story, which I do think would make the most sense. And while I know many dislike this character for the sole fact that she's not Andy, I think that her inclusion in these last couple movies has tied into what the toys are experiencing really well. Especially in this 5th entry where she plays a crucial role. I really like how the neglect that Jessie and the other toys experience is reflected in Bonnie by her peers. I know a lot of people want her to grow up and gift these toys to Andy's kids, and while I'm not sure that's something they would actually do, I can see why people would see this as a fitting end for the franchise, or at least her trilogy. Within this film though, I think the emotional beats hit really hard. When She Loved Me is one of the franchise's big heartstring tugging moments, and with this being Jessie's movie, a lot of us expected it to return in some way, the Emily storyline that is, and I think they handled it quite well. I think they were actually really reserved in what they decided to showcase, which ended up working out better. Despite what some may think, these films have never gone crazy with the nostalgia. I do love how they evolved the human-toy relationship in a new way here though, showcasing an impact far beyond expectations in Jessie's case. There's already some deleted concepts and ideas that I think may be suited for a video in their own right surrounding this situation. Right now, I'm pretty interested in seeing what Easter eggs people were able to find. I really didn't see anything crazy on any of my watches, but I did see that people saw Lotso, which I think is really cool. And I'm also really interested in seeing how this film continues to perform in the box office. And before I sign off for this video, I have to commend the animation sequences in which the playtime was shown off. We saw some of this in the trailers, but it just looks so fresh every time that they showed it on screen, and was able to breathe some new life into this franchise that really didn't need it, but it was just refreshing to see. I could honestly watch a whole short series just in this animation style. As of now, I want to throw the question out to all of you though. What did you think of this entry in the Toy Story franchise? What were your favorite moments, or new characters, or old characters, I guess? And what do you think about the potential of a Toy Story 6? It's early and all, but let's just throw that question out here now. That does it for this video though. Thank you all for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.